Yesterday I phoned Gary Stretch. We was having a right good talk. Hopefully I want him to come very soon because we've got a big dinner date, yeah? And I want him to come, you know, I want him to be there. There's quite a few boxes going to be on the table as well, and there are quite a few people that I saw that'd love to meet him, yeah? So, on top of that, I was talking about the fight between Conor Ben and Eubanks. So, I asked him who he fancies, and he said, I fancy Eubanks, Ray. I fancy Eubanks to stop Conor maybe 5-6 rounds. That's a good prediction, isn't it? You know what I mean? I said, what do you fancy that? And he said, well, I fancy that Eubanks is a lot heavier than Conor Ben. He hasn't got to lose no weight, like, you know, or put weight on like Conor Ben. He can bang Eubanks' son as well. He puts it together. I said, listen, I've been watching Nigel Benn's boy, Conor, in the ring, you know, when he's sparring around and all that. He's a bit near the mark. He's something similar to his dad. And he laughed, Gary. He said, listen, he'll never be like his dad. His dad was a different fighter altogether. Nigel Benn was the proper fighter, mate, you know. But he did say that, obviously, that Eubanks beat Nigel, stopped Nigel. And Eubanks stopped Gary Stretch, yeah. But he still says that he thinks Eubanks will beat Conor Ben. I said, oh, that's a good prediction. It is a good prediction, you know. And then he was talking about the weigh-in and things like that, yeah. And I said, yeah, I remember that weigh-in so well, yeah. I jumped up on the stage, nearly broke my neck. I missed the stage and bashed my leg on the stage, yeah. Missed it. Made me look like a right fool, yeah. And I sort of pulled myself up and I bumped in to Jimmy Tibbs. And Jimmy Tibbs spotted me, mate, and he come right out of the way, give me a big cut and all that. I said, all right, Jim. And me and Jim go back a long way because Chelmsford Prison. His dad was there, I was there, Robert was there and all that. And it was good, you know. And Jimmy was, you know, a very, very fit man. He used to always be out in the grass, you know, doing all sorts of burpees, leg thrusts, press ups, all that. And you know, a couple of times he's played rugby, but rugby really ain't his game, yeah. But he used to shadow box about, mate, and he was the business. He was a business. The old man Tibbsy, mate. He was young Tibbsy, really, but he was good. He was a good fighter, mate. You know, I liked him, yeah. When he'd see me, it was nice, yeah. And then I was just talking about what's it called it when we all was in the dressing room, and Gary Stretch was, you know, you could see Gary wanted it bad. Gary was fit, but he wasn't as fit as what he should be. It was too quick. 6 weeks wasn't enough for Gary Stretch to get ready for Eubanks. You know what I mean? It was too quick, but he took it anyway, yeah. You know, it was what it was. I mean, he boxed his head off, didn't he? He boxed Eubanks' head off for 6 rounds, and then Eubanks just come in and bashed him up. You know, we didn't bash him up, but knocked him out of the ring. It wasn't a count. It wasn't a count of 10. Eubanks was still a beat of Gary. Anyway, Gary was fair play to Gary. He said, yeah, he was still beat me, right? I wasn't ready for it, yeah. And he said Eubanks was a powerful, powerful puncher and a very strong man, yeah. So when I said about Conor Ben, and he said, look, he ain't nowhere like the old man. He hasn't got that killer thing like the old man did, yeah. And I just think that Eubanks will knock out Conor Ben between 5 and 6 rounds. I went, crikey, right. And then we was talking about the time that I had this little boy on the Eubank Stretch fight, and I was coming down the stairs with this little boy. This little boy was really, really ill. You know, I don't think he had too long to live, but he wanted to walk down with Gary Stretch. Yeah, I mucked up a little bit because I come down too fast, and you know, and I was really holding the boy tight. I come down too fast, and then Gary Stretch was behind, taking it very easy with his brother. And when we got to the ring, I would put the boy there with Gary Stretch, while Gary Stretch was getting, jumping on the ring. And Gary sort of like looked at him and shook his little hands. And it was so heartbreaking to think this little boy hadn't got long to live, yeah? And it done me in, mate. It done me in. I sat down there with his mum, and this kid, mate, was watching it. His eyes was, but when Gary got knocked over by Eubanks, the little boy, like, little tears in his eyes, yeah? But I said to Gary Stretch yesterday on the phone, have you ever been told what happened to that little boy? He went, no. I said, you should find out, girl. You know what I mean? That little boy loved you so much, mate. He was like, your top supporter, mate. But anyway, I'd love to know myself, you know what I mean? Anyway, bang, bang, rail. Nice one, bye.